You ever have one of those days where you're having trouble sleeping because your mind is completely on fire? I'm looking at this and I'm just, uh, you know, I, all the economics research that I've been doing over the past couple of days, and I'm looking at this like I'm trying to get my money out of Bitcoin in order to put it in cash, but I'm looking at this and I'm just, like the EU is looking at an alternative to Russian gas, the heat pump. You know, um, I just wanted to say, at all this, thank you, Vladimir Putin. Uh, your threats to us and your demands to pay in the ruble, and that you were going to repay your bonds in rubles, and that you were going to force everybody to buy and pay for your natural gas in ruble and everything, and all the dictatorial moves that you made the whole world. You gave them every reason that they needed in order to seek an alternative to natural gas, which spurs innovation as a result of your war in order to beat you in the energy space. You have inspired a rebellion now, which is going to, actually start manufacturing heat pumps, and working to skill, and it creates incentive for people to skill up too, in the direction of learning how to do the installs and get the certifications, involved in order to manufacture heat pumps. This is a world changing, thing. This can't possibly last. The situation where Russia is behaving the way that they're behaving. I mean, the world that we're in right now. I'm seeing my partner is actually trying to get me to read her story at the moment on Facebook. But yeah, I mean, I'm just my brain right now. It's just reeling mentally because I'm fucking mind blown. I'm seeing what's going on, and I'm seeing that Europe. Like these whole articles are just completely fascinating. The guys are saying that there's actually a complete run up on demand for heat pumps in Europe. You know, um, even in countries where gas is a major power source, switching to heat pumps would significantly cut demand. But the best case scenario for both climate and energy security has heat pump running on electricity produced by renewables, meaning countries will have to scale up wind and solar capacity. You know, so the point is, none of these solutions really does it by themselves. So this is going to be, but Europe, if you've paid attention to headlines out of Europe at all in the recent years, that they've, why we have solar panels here at home in the United States, that like Europe is way further ahead in adoption of electric vehicles and adoption of solar panels than we are here at home. Right. I mean, like, they've been much more willing to use the levers of power in government in order to accelerate, shifts in technology over there in Europe, whereas here at home, that attitude would be resisted as government interference in the market. You know what I mean? Like, here at home, we would say that we don't want that to happen because those kind of subsidies are basically the government picking winners and losers. And as much as I disagree with that, I think maybe the government should pick some winners and losers, especially as this saga is demonstrating. Obviously the government should give tax credits to manufacture heat pumps here at home because we need it, as a tool of national security and as a tool of just, fuck Russia, fuck Putin, you know? That's all I really have to say about all that, So, like like we're able to literally monetize fuck Russia, with natural gas, with heat pumps instead of natural gas. We've got a legitimate alternative: solar panels and heat pumps. It's the way forward. In Europe, Europe can, put their screws to Russia because, what Russia is doing is trying to use the fact that, Europe is dependent on natural gas in order to, to bully them into submission. And now, what Putin has done by doing this, though, is it will warrant some kind of response as a result, because people are like, I wouldn't want us to be the kind of people that would take that kind of abuse lying down. I wouldn't want Europe to take that abuse lying down. It's act up, fight back. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, Mr. Putin, hats off to you. Your attempts to uh, engage in this kind of dictatorship that you've engaged in, and your attempt to use the leverage that you have in order to abuse Europe and bring the world under your heel and crush it under it. All you've done is given the world every incentive that it needs to break its dependence on natural gas. And as somebody that has been worried about the climate as it was before all of this, that's great. Now the biggest threat to natural gas that I was calling for all those years back is now going to accelerate. And I've said this observationally too. Like, when I look back in history, I mean, how did we get computers in the first place? And I love computers. How did we get them? Alan Turing, when he was trying to break the German encryption. Two things, in my estimation, have expanded technological development, and it made it go faster: war and the space race. One of the biggest things for most of the progress, for a lot of the runaway progress in the 1900 to 2000, was the fact that World War II happened. We had a major need to break German encryption, so we invented computers, which have now changed the world already. And now, look at it. Look at the picture. Russia has started a war, which has therefore given the rest of the world incentive to go out and accelerate the development of heat pumps in order to break our dependence on Russian energy. So, and the knockback effects of that are pretty big, because they extend beyond just breaking Putin's dependence on it. I mean, natural gas, this is the threat finally manifesting that I was saying was coming in a big way. I was saying that about everything that the world had what had happened was that natural gas had been seen as the bridge fuel to cleaner alternatives after we broke off coal. And I've been saying that coal has been hit pretty hard, but what happened to coal was eventually going to happen to natural gas as the world flipped over to solar. Well, this will just accelerate things in that direction. It'll push things further in that way. It'll mean breaking our dependence on fossil fuels for heating people's homes, and eventually that kind of change. First it's going to be used for breaking Europe's dependence on it, but eventually that's going to end up exported back here at home. People will start using heat pumps to heat their own homes as a consequence of it here at home, breaking our dependence on natural gas. It will have knockback effects that, obviously Europe is going as an early adopter, but, who knows, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, the world will probably not ultimately be as dependent on natural gas. And it won't just be here, it won't just be over there in Europe, it will be all over the world. And as a consequence of Putin's actions, this is what happens. I mean, so Vladimir Putin, I think that you're a tin pot dictator, and I really don't like you as a person for all the shit that you did. But I really do have to thank you. You gave the world all the incentive that it needed to break its dependence on natural gas. So, hats off to you in a begrudging kind of way.